Uh, Hello, YouTube. It's been a hot minute since I reacted to something different. I don't know if it's going to get noticed or not, but hey, whatever. You know the deal. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, whatever. Anyways, this is Machinima. Yeah, Machinima, I think it's called. The lesson VTubers forgot. Anyways, let's just hop into it.
Alright, that is enough! Everyone just stop! Just stop!
You know all those crazy videos you see on the internet?
Me?
Ones
Yeah,
that
you!
love
Put
mine
down your
shit
face
out of
me like a
Halo.
man! Fucking dare you!
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Machinima Respawn. Sorry,
Diablo 3, Microsoft calls out.
I'm pretty sure Machinima's been dead for a while. I haven't heard anything about them in years.
If you grew up anything like me, if you saw that logo at the beginning of a video,
that is nauseating, that turn speed radius. I hate that.
you knew it was going to be a good video. But now, that company is long gone, and to me it seems people forgot about Machinima and what its downfall really meant to the content creator space.
Okay, whoever's playing this Call of Duty, that is nauseating. I know, some people are like, you're not a pro gamer. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just an old person.
So, 8 years later, I've started to see content creators make the same mistakes, particularly in the VTuber industry. And with the recent collapse of the agency VShojo, I'm starting to see similarities that are eerily reminiscent of Machinima.
Well, there's been a few agencies that have collapsed or just flat out closed their doors, if I recall. Not just VShojo, but VShojo's been the biggest one, I believe. The biggest fallout so far.
So in the hopes of people not repeating history...
But again, the way I look at it, it's all coming down to corporate greed. No matter what you look at, however you look at it, it's always just like, okay, you can't focus on money. Money cannot be the motivator for everything. You have to love what you do or like what you do. You have to like the people you interact with, etc., etc. Well, I mean, that's a given. Sorry.
Let's go back in time.
Yeah, let's just take a drift back. Right, my brain is a little... It's late here.
The word machinima comes from the combination of the words machine and cinema, used to describe the act of making videos using either video game...
That takes me back to the old days of YouTube when, like, the YouTube poops and stuff, or, like, Lewis blows up a shelf for no reason. The SMW movies. Man, we didn't realize how good we had it until AI stepped in.
Footage, or the in-game engine, these styles of videos started to become popular in the late 90s. And at the same time, the website Machinima.com was launched in 1999 with the purpose of hosting these types of videos. And for the next 5 years...
I didn't realize this was that old. I remember Red vs. Blue, my friend had to manually download the app. Look, this is going to tell you a bit how old I am. When the new episodes dropped, my friend had to manually download them on the internet back in the day. And quote-unquote high-speed internet was like 128 kilobytes per second or some shit like that, like in our area, because we had the entire infrastructure where I lived was so outdated. When they came in with like cable internet, they had to replace the old cable line, all the old cable lines on the poles and to the houses and in the houses, because it was so old that the cable itself could not handle the frequencies of the internet. So it was just like, yeah, we lived in dial-up internet for a long time. We don't even have fiber here, I don't think, yet.
This was their bread and butter. By 2007, YouTube was starting to develop its personality. It went from being a place where people would upload their family vacation videos and 20-second clips recorded on a cell phone to people actually making content for the sake of entertaining on YouTube. One of the genres quickly gaining popularity on the platform was gaming content. While popular, the genre fell into a kind of gray area in terms of copyright, a persisting issue being creators getting hit with false copyright claims just for simply uploading gameplay. Machinima, already being well established in the gaming scene, had created a YouTube channel in 2006 and started uploading videos from their website in 2007, gaining them lots of subscribers, and was made a YouTube director. This was something back in the early days of YouTube that allowed a creator to upload videos longer than 10 minutes.
I like the fact that in a way, this is a throwback to the old days, like Red versus Blue and that. But at the same time, in a way, would that make these characters the way when they're dressing like this, like in this style, technically old school VTubers, like Generation 1 VTubers, I guess you could say? I get it. There's no generation technically of VTubers per se, but I mean, like, this style would also predate a lot of other people that people would credit to be quote unquote the OG VTubers too, because you have an avatar, you're speaking through it. Yeah, maybe the tracking is not there per se because it's being like emulated to a degree, but I mean, like, not emulated, but like the gestures are being performed manually. Again, even some VTubers, you have hotkeys to perform gestures and stuff manually too. So, I'm sorry, I'm going a little rant here.
It also had some added features such as channel customization options and adding URLs to videos. It now no longer exists. That same year, YouTube launched its partner program, allowing 55% of ad revenue to go to partnered channels. Machinima, already being a director, was made a partner pretty quickly and started making money on their videos. And after seeing the potential for this business model on the platform and the demand for creators to get compensation for their videos, Machinima had an idea. What if they were to play the part of YouTube with less strict requirements and start signing creators under them?
I already smell a problem here already. That's already a problem I can smell coming.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
let's run with it. And run with it they did, signing numerous smaller creators over the next couple of years. So finally, creators are actually getting paid for...
So it more or less became an umbrella company within YouTube.
The videos that they make. And if that didn't sweeten up the deal enough, false copyright claims given to said creator would be the company's problem to deal with. So all in all, this was a pretty good deal compared to not getting any money at all or any help.
Good.
So by now you're probably asking, what's so wrong with this company? And to what I'd say to you, dear viewer, is shut up, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Hold on. The terms of a Machinima contract. Usually the terms of these contracts would be that a Machinima director would be required to occasionally upload a video on the Machinima channel, and they would, in turn, pay the creator around 60% of the ad revenue that video made. At the same time, content uploaded to the creator's channel would have monetization turned on, and Machinima would be the one receiving these payments, and would give a certain percentage of the revenue generated to the creator. All seems good up to here, right? Well,
it kind of sounds okay-ish, but what's the cut?
Speaking of licensing, it is also stated in the contract that Machinima is allowed to use the creator's video under license in perpetuity, meaning forever. Of course they put this on page 3 of the contract, and we haven't even gotten...
Yeah, nobody really reads even the first page, not gonna lie. A lot of people, like, there's a lot of people I know who, like, I get it, everyone is guilty of just looking at the terms of service agreement going, yeah, no, I'm not reading this, I'm not a lawyer.
To the best part. In most cases, these contracts would be from 3 to 7 years, though some were as long as 30 years to forever.
Wow.
Again, on page 3, all the way at the bottom.
I have to wonder if that is that even legal? Because that does sound fucked up. Not gonna lie, that does sound. I just realized that he's right. That does sound a lot like some of agencies out there.
So by now, it's pretty obvious to see that they snuck these clauses in on purpose, knowing that the vast majority of their creators were teenagers or young adults who wouldn't know any better and wouldn't bother reading the entire contract. After all, why would you? Everyone wanted to be in Machinima. Besides, it's only 3 years.
The funny part is, I never really heard of Machinima until they were dead, basically. Which is, like, I think there's probably a few things I saw from them while they were on their last legs, maybe, but that's it.
Really not that long. In reality, a lot can change in 3 years.
Yeah.
The hell is it?
Alright. What caused the downfall?
By the time 2013 rolled around, YouTube's monetization policy had changed to a point where it was much easier for creators to get partnered by themselves. Instead...
So that means they're no longer getting all the... They no longer have the grunts making the content for them.
Instead of getting a fraction of a fraction, you'd get the full 55%. So as expected, many creators went to Machinima and wanted out. This is where Machinima became notorious for how hard they would make it for said creators to get out of their contracts.
Sounds like another corporation I know of. I ain't saying names. It just sounds like another corporation I know. Actually, it almost sounds like every corporation. There's been things I've been in part of that I have lost significant amounts of money to because they refuse to let me actually cancel stuff. So eventually I got fed up and basically said, hey, either you cancel this or I'm taking you to court. And they canceled it and refunded me half of the money they took from me. But still.
Often being ghosted or thrown from person to person via email. And even if they reach the right person, this is where those
This really sounds okay. This right now, how this is being ran now really sounds like a dumpster fire because there's no management whatsoever. It sounds like it's just a gong show, as they say.
perpetuity clauses came into the picture. So after Machinima playing the part of a brick wall to many YouTubers, creators started to voice their grievances about Machinima publicly, eroding their public standing for the next 2 years until by 2015, most people knew, well, I'll let Pyro say it.
Stay away from Machinima. They are absolute cancer.
Somehow, Machinima managed to struggle on till 2019.
I didn't even know they were still around 2015. Like, that's the thing though. It's like some of these agencies and companies, etc., can last on, like, you think they're gone, and it's just like somehow Palpatine returned. Yet he was never gone, apparently, in some of these cases.
Until being merged and dissolved after being sold to Warner Brothers. And promptly privated all the videos on their channels, making thousands of creators' early videos now lost media. Had to be an asshole all the way up until the end.
That is some petty ass shit. Although, like, I get it, you got bought out, you got dissolved, like, what are you gonna do?
Before we get to the next section of the video, I wanted to put in perspective how influential Machinima was in the gaming space. At its heyday, Machinima was the epicenter of gaming content on YouTube. It's pretty much a gift.
I don't know if I think in the early days for YouTube, I don't really think I really watched a lot of the gaming stuff. I'm trying to think, like, if there was anything I actually watched from them. I don't really. There might have been 1 or 2 things I've watched from Machinima over maybe a few things, but for the most part, no. Like, the early days of YouTube, I basically watched the Angry Video Game Nerd. I will not, like, full disclosure. Yeah, me and my friends used to watch him a lot. I feel sorry for James. Like, he's done so much. Like, he was a pioneer of everything. Like, I kind of feel sorry for him that he's just kind of there now. I guess that happens after so long.
Given that most of your favorite creators at the time were part of Machinima,
Huh.
and probably had a bad story or two about their interactions with Machinima. But at the same time...
Yeah, I guess some of the olds... I can't say nothing because I am considered one of the olds. I just never jumped on the content creation wagon until much later on.
It inspired many, many people, whether it be from the Red vs. Blue series,
Yes,
to Inside Gaming, or to watching Inbox with Sark and APL Fisher. It truly did leave a mark on the internet, and I can't overstate that enough. It really was something that needed to exist at its time.
I could have swore Red vs. Blue wasn't Machinima. I could have swore it was Rooster Teeth, unless Machinima did some other stuff involved in it. I don't know. Like, it's been so long for me to remember this stuff. My memories of that time of my life are basically fragments now.
But unfortunately, as time went on, it was no longer needed.
What?
It's very sad the way the company ended. It kind of went out with a whimper at the time. Everyone had expected it, and most people were surprised that they even still existed. But at the same time, the amount of videos, the archive that those channels were, is truly the biggest loss of that. Thousands upon thousands of videos are now gone. I mean, they're still there, privated, but unless you can get the account information, there's probably no chance that we'll ever see those videos again.
And I can see YouTube making a move at some point where if your channel has not uploaded something in X amount of time or whatever, that they can be purged, or if they've been private for X amount of time, they might be purged. I have no idea. I don't want to put ideas out there for YouTube. I'm just saying though, because when it becomes lost media and something's been bought out, I don't know. There's probably a whole legal mess behind Machinima now with that kind of thing. Like they've been gone for so long. Now what though? Like there's still a ton of video left.
Ironically, around the same time Machinima was slowly bleeding out, over in the land of the rising sun, this started to become popular. Wow, the first VTuber.
Are you sure?
Of course she's an industry plant. Well,
wait,
anyway...
Let me see that. 2016, the character's design was... Never heard of Activate. Activate. Duh.
Of course she's an industry plant. Well, anyway, these VTubers started appearing around 2016 and 2017, and basically are a person, usually streaming or making a video, using an anime avatar on screen to represent themselves, and was mostly relegated to Japan,
Oh, wait, what the hell
except
is
for a
this
couple
quality?
of early
This is on
adopters
HD,
here
it's
in the
quality's
US.
ass.
Over the
I'm
next
sorry.
3 years, with more and more advancements
It
with
does.
face
The 8...
tracking, and
Yeah.
namely VR chat becoming popular due to memes,
Uh-huh.
Do you know the way? You have to have Ebola to know the way. I have Ebola. You just know the way to know the
it eventually started to spread over to the US. Then once 2020 happened, it really blew up in the States.
That's because that whole timeline of events, I'll say, was a perfect storm for this to take off. I can't say nothing. I started off then. I think I started off after then.
Going back a bit to when this phenomena was in Japan, a couple of companies saw some potential to make some cash off this new trend. Enter HoloLive and Niji Sanji. So after recruiting some talents, things were going well enough in Japan that they decided to have some English-speaking VTubers. Which is how we ended up with the big three, or I guess big two now, that we have today. So after getting the history out of the way, let's take a look at how being a corporate VTuber
There was some other ones along the way that were not mentionable anymore, I guess, either. They just show up whenever they feel like rearing their evil heads, I guess.
actually works. So starting off, you have to audition to get into one of these agencies.
Yep.
Now normally, most of these VTubers auditioning for an agency already have a somewhat established YouTuber Twitch channel, so most are already familiar with making content. At any rate, you'd pretty much submit a video selling yourself to the company. It'd be the normal things such as showing off the quality of your content, how your voice sounds, knowing how to sing, and things along those lines. Once you get past the audition, you would then go on to the contract negotiation phase. I should note that not much is known by the public of the exact terms of these contracts.
Just because most contracts, for whatever, well, I get why to a degree, because it's like each company has their own contracts, etc., etc.
Due to the fact that these companies love using NDAs, whether you left on
Yeah.
good terms or not. So I'll be doing my best in putting the pieces together from the info I've gotten. So the way it works after you've passed the audition and signed the contract, you must stop all activities on your old channel.
Which is a common occurrence you see. Very rarely do VTubers, at least in corporations, post anything on their quote-unquote private or previous life, etc.
Reason being, the company gives you a new persona, new name, new channel, and new VTuber model, all of which the company owns.
Usually.
Essentially, instead of you licensing
Some cases, you get to keep the model. Some, I forget which one it was. Somebody joined HoloLive and they used their own model, so they get to keep it if they leave. I'm pretty sure still. It was one of the first ones. At least VShojo didn't try to take the models away from them.
your channel to them, they are licensing a channel to you. So, in turn, if you decide to leave, they retain ownership of their intellectual properties. Meaning,
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Like, I kind of hate this. This is the one thing I really don't like about this system, is just like, no, unless the person has passed away, like, they're still there, and if they're still going to keep going on and doing content, you should just let them have the character. Because then you're just okay, your literary character assassinating the character at that point. Because, I don't know, it's a mixed bag. I'm a VTuber myself, like, the way I post content and whatnot, but I see this, like, in a way, and it just kind of bugs me. I'm sure there's other people out there who feel the same way, but it's just like, it just kind of bugs me when corporations are like, no, you can't.
Bye-bye YouTube channel. There is of course a revenue split, though the exact numbers are a bit foggy, but from what has been revealed, the standard is around a 60-20 split. The main appeal for being a corpo...
And from what I understand, most of the money made is probably, I think, off merch, more than the actual channel revenue. So I don't know. There's a lot of things I hear, but there's a lot of things I don't know. So I just, allegedly, let's just say, allegedly that's how it is.
Versus an independent VTuber is that you will have an audience right off rip. Usually a lot bigger than your old channel, due to these companies having a large following. It's the difference between going from 1K subs to almost 100K in...
And I have seen some people use the corporations, get on it, do a year or two of them, build up their player base, their user base, and then hop off. And take basically a mass majority of them with them and be well off. I mean, like, it's... Yeah, depends what you sign on for your contract, I guess. Some people will do that.
Instantly. Another added benefit is having fellow talents that you can collab with in order to share each other's audiences and also to just make new friends. All in all, is a very appealing offer to new creators. The main disadvantage, in my opinion, is the company does have a say in what content you put out. They will assign you a man.
There's also, I know all the companies that, well, at least, yeah, I think all three, the big three, when they existed anyway, when the third one existed, I'm pretty sure a lot of the talents did complain about not being able to get perms for certain stuff they wanted to do, or perms to play certain games they wanted to do, etc. So, like, I see that as, like, the one of the biggest deterrers to me anyways, because, like, I want the freedom to play what I want when I want, kind of thing.
Manager, and they will have to approve any games you play, videos you make, music videos, etc. Basically, if they say no, then sorry, you can't do it. Something that's important to understand for the next section is that if you are a talent and you're leaving one of these agencies, there are two ways of doing it. You can graduate, basically announcing your final stream and saying goodbye to your fans, or you can get terminated. Think of it as an honorable discharge versus a dishonorable discharge. Overall, these contracts are similar in concept to Machinima, minus the predatory clauses of course, but differ in other ways. Lately though, it seems there's been some signs of trouble from these agencies that I think is worth mentioning. So let's take a little look at some of the recent controversies.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's go down memory lane. Bad Moon Rising, oh go.
One of the first big signs of trouble reared its head in early 2024, with Niji Sanji terminating one of its biggest talents at the time, Selen Tatsuki. Tatsuki? I think that's how you say it. Seemingly out of nowhere.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Selen had been with Niji Sanji since 2021 and was known for her FPS streams and her dedication to her fanbase, often doing whatever she could to make them happy. So, establishing that, Selen had wanted to make a music video for her fans, but Niji Sanji wouldn't fund it, so she decided that she would then use $15,000 of her own cash to make the video. Niji Sanji's knee-jerk reaction to this was to immediately take the video down in less than 24 hours. How very nice of them. 2 days later, her Twitter account posted a tweet saying that she was currently in the hospital, which it was later revealed to be her manager tweeting this and not her. Remember that little
Yeah, the skinwalkers. Sorry. The whole thing still makes me salty towards that company.
tidbit about the company owning everything? Following that, on the 31st, her account tweeted that she was out of the hospital and recovering. After that, though, it was radio silence from her for an entire month. The company wouldn't mention her, and not even her fellow talents would either. So, expectedly, most fans by then were pretty worried, and they even started a hashtag to get Niji Sanji to update them on her well-being on Twitter. Soon after that hashtag started trending, all of the content on her YouTube channel would be privated. This was a bad sign. And the bad news came on February 5th, 2024, that she would be terminated from Niji Sanji. And this news was especially surprising to Selen herself, who only found out about this termination via a Twitter post from the company. Selen, now using her old Twitter account DokiBird, put out a tweet saying that she was actually hospitalized for trying to Minecraft herself, thank you YouTube, and this was caused by a toxic work environment at the company from management and bullying from her fellow talents at the company. And it turns out that this had been festering for months, well before the music video situation. This event had snowballed to the point where the parent company's stock had dropped more than 20%.
Fuck you. Sorry. I hate that guy.
And even got to the point where the CEO of the company had to come out on video and make a public apology. But by then, the damage was already done to their reputation, so much so that they are really struggling in 2020.
Yeah. Hey, it's Recall. That company has never recovered from the Solan incident. And I'm fine with that. And I'm glad Donkey Bird is thriving and happy where she is now. Like, that company just... words I cannot say on this channel.
And don't have nearly as big of a presence as they did before 2024. And that's pretty much the rough synopsis of what happened there. Now, there is a lot more that I did not go over, and I really only scratched the surface of the situation.
That's fine, my dude.
So if you're interested in learning more, there's a link in the description to Mugen's video where he really goes in depth.
Actually, that might be the worst PR disaster in possibly any industry.
To the point where I'm talking, he makes like 2 videos that are each an hour long. So go check them out.
Yeah.
This next section isn't necessarily a controversy, but definitely a sign of trouble, and it revolves around HoloLive, who was one of the first...
Wasn't a lot of them was disagreements with management, I think it was, and it kind of sucks because like all the ones I watched, or a lot of the ones I watched, are just poof. But again, I think HoloLive was doing better when it was private, at least for their talents. Now that when they became like a public company,
VTuber companies to start an English branch. It seems these early talents, or at least a significant portion of them, have a problem with the direction the company is going. Again, specifics aren't known due to them all leaving on good terms, and of course being under NDA, but it's theorized that...
Well, I think one of them left because they wanted to start a family and stuff, and since you're an idol, you're technically not allowed, I think, or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of weird things, but again, like, I do respect Cover and HoloLive. Like, they seem to be doing the best that they can, but, like...
This could be due to the parent company going public and really pushing the talents to be more of singer idols instead of content creators. At any rate, the smoking gun is right there. But
and that's another thing, though. Like, a lot of them joined on as content creators, not as idols, I'm pretty sure.
between September of 2024 and May of 2025, 5 creators have left the company, one of which being the crown jewel of HoloLive, Galgura. For those who don't know, Galgura was really the one to popularize VTubing in the US in 2020. Before HoloLive, she was
like the #1 VTuber, if I recall, for the longest time, until I think Iron Mouse got that crown. I could be wrong. Like, do not like yell at me. I am dumb. I admit that. I cannot follow everything. I came into the HoloLive scene just before Sana left. So me and her kind of overlapped, and that was just when I was starting to learn anything about them.
Already pretty big on YouTube, going under the name Senzawa and amassing 1.4 million subscribers.
I'm surprised
her HoloLive channel has about
to
4.7 million subs. So
Unless
she
she
really
couldn't
isn't
contractual
insignificant.
reasons.
To most VTubers and VTuber fans, she is, or was, the face of their industry. What I think is really telling is how, in the last 2 years before she left, the amount she streamed really went down, to the point where she was only streaming maybe once every 3 to 4 months. After she left and started a new independent channel, going under Saba Saba, or Sameko Saba, it drastically increased, to the point where she has a weekly schedule, and the same can be said for at least 2 of her fellow creators who left during that period. Again, not much is known as to what is going on at HoloLive, but I definitely think it is worth mentioning and a good idea to keep an eye on it. And now, to the most Machinima-esque downfall, let's talk about VShojo for a bit.
Oh boy.
So, VShojo was a bit of an oddball at the time. It was founded in 2020 during the height of the VTuber craze in the US, and was one of the first US-based VTuber agencies. Their main slogan, you could say, was that they were a talent-first agency, and to the public it really did look like
Yeah.
it. The biggest difference...
It really did for the longest time, and then when everything just... When the poop hit the fan, like, I cannot word it any better, it was just like, holy, what the heck? What is going on? Because it was such an eye-opener, and it was so, like, it was so unreal, because they seemed like they were the best of the best for so long. But it was all smoke and mirrors.
Being, if you were an indie VTuber, you could join them, and you would get to keep your intellectual properties, meaning you really didn't lose anything when you left. And the same goes for VTubers auditioning with them. They would make you a new channel, model, etc., and you got to keep all of it when you left. The first signs of trouble came in...
That sounds like the best way to do it, in my opinion. Just the management side of them, just again, like, it's just so bad.
2023, when 3 creators had left the company. Concerning, but they had insisted it was on good terms, so most fans were just like, okay, and kept going on with their lives. Things really got suspicious when, between May and June of 2025, another 3 creators had left. And then the real bombshell came on July 21st, when Iron Mouse, their biggest talent, with 1.4 million subs, had announced that she was leaving VShojo. And this was due to her finding out that $500,000 she had raised the previous summer for charity had not been received by said charity, along with her also not being paid by the company for an extended period of time. Since Iron Mouse was signed to this company, it was VShojo's job to act as the middleman in giving the money to the charity, but seemingly, once the money was given to VShojo, it disappeared. Poof. Gone. Where did it go, you ask? Well, it turns out they put the money back into the company, because unknown to most of the creators, and even the public, the company was really struggling financially for some time now. This theory was seeming...
Again, if they would have kept their talents in the loop with some of that stuff and did a better job managing, maybe they could have actually saved themselves. Like, I don't know what the hell they were doing. Like, nobody really knows what the hell they were doing, but it's just like, it seems like such a waste. Like, they had so much potential, so many of these heavy hitters, like heavy hitting VTubers in the company that they could have easily, like, been #1, and yet it's so annoying that this happened, because, like, it sucks, because yeah.
Confirmed over the next couple of days by multiple other creators who were in VShojo, also coming out saying that they had not been paid by them for as long as up to 12 months. And yes, pocketing money meant for charity is indeed a crime. It soon came out from leaked documents too that VShojo had clauses that put creators who left the company under NDAs that had no time limit. How very Machinima of them. And was bullying creators for such things as having a...
But again, if the company's defunct, shouldn't all those NDAs, etc., be null and void? I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, don't come at me. I'm just thinking, if the company no longer exists, how can you enforce an NDA for something that doesn't exist?
lawyer review contracts. Again, how very Machinima of them. They had even threatened to sue this creator for simply canceling a stream due to stress that the company had caused her. This all culminated into a mass exodus of all talents, and by July 24th, the company had announced it was ceasing operations, all in the span of 2 days.
Yeah.
Wow. What I want people to understand is that both Machinima and these VTuber agencies all fall under the term of being called a multi-channel network, or an MCN. And Machinima wasn't the only one back in the 2010s.
So I was kind of right.
Full Screen, Maker Studios, and Machinima made up the big three at the time.
I can safely say I think Machinima is the only one I've ever heard of. The other two I've never heard of.
Yet all of them had ceased operations by 2020. What simply happened is there was no longer a need for them anymore. As a YouTuber, it made more sense by 2016 to be on your own than to sign with them. And if history tells us anything, these VTuber agencies are pretty much in the same place Machinima, Full Screen, and Maker were in 2012. So unless they change...
The only difference is Hololive is doing a lot more. I guess I can understand why they're pushing more for the idol movement for Hololive, because that's a different thing. That's something you can't really do on your own unless you're huge. Don't get me wrong. A few creators have done it solo, but it's not cheap, and it takes a lot of time. So, like, that's the big thing you get with a company, if the company actually helps you, is production value.
They'll probably end up meeting the same fate. To be clear, I'm not necessarily anti-corpo, as they would say. I think it can be done well if you actually care about the talents. It seems the agency FaZe Connect understands that. While I don't agree with them owning everything about their talents' online presence, their CEO, Sakana, actually seems to care about them on a personal level. Though I do have some questions about the whole FaZe Invader thing, so I may delve into that later at some point.
I've heard of the FaZe Invade thing, but I have no idea what the hell it is, so...
Even now, the only regular YouTuber MCN that I've seen really succeed is Mythic Talent, but that can be explained by the owners of the company being content creators themselves. Not greedy corporate suits. So to end us off here, I truly want more of these VTubers who are thinking about joining these agencies to really think about whether or not you want someone to control the content you make, or...
No, for me, no, that would never fly. I need the freedom to do what I really want, and the schedule, because I'm not a full-time creator. Just putting that out there. I have a day job, I do stuff, I have to have job security in this world. And I am not big enough to do any of that on my own, so... And, but no, I would never go corporal because, like I said, I value my freedom to do what I want, to play what I want, to more or less say what I want. If I was witty, I would insert a clip here, but maybe I will still. I don't know.
If you want to be free to make that judgment yourself. I also think that there's some weird taboos that have been perpetuated in that space, such as being very secretive about numbers and thinking that it's bad juju to talk about your old accounts. To me personally, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I always thought that seeing what a person made when they first started their account is a good way to see how their content has grown. As I always say, transparency is everything.
My really old stuff is cringe.
Most of the YouTubers that I've watched were always very open about the problems that they had with YouTube, and why they make one form of content over another, and I always found that interesting and not something bad. To VTuber fans in general, I really want you to keep tabs on the actions of these agencies. At the end of the day, this whole concept has been done before, and didn't really end well for both the companies and the creators. Hold them accountable.
Yeah, it seems like these network companies or whatever, well, the companies that they are, he was talking about, I don't remember the acronym because my brain is very bleh. It seems like they come in during a time when they're needed, and then the other company, like the streaming platform or whatever, does something, and it's just like, okay, we can make you now. We don't need you anymore, kind of thing. Unless a VTuber company rises up, and like someone like Hololive, I'm gonna say, because I think they have the biggest pockets, rises up and makes their own dedicated streaming platform. Like, I'm not sure how it would work. I cannot think that far ahead, but it seems like, yeah, unless someone can actually make their own dedicated streaming platform for some of this stuff, that's when things get interesting, I would say. But I don't know if anyone would fly for that.
Push for these agencies to be more talent-oriented. If we don't remember the past, we are condemned to repeat it.
Yeah, because it's always should have been the people first, never the higher-ups. Like, in all forms of thing. Like, I say that about a lot of things, because the people are always the ones that suffer first. It's never the people on top, it feels like.
And hopefully now, you'll be able to see the signs that Machinima taught us. This has been Catatonic, and I'll see you guys next time.
Good video. Fair. Super Scope, Xbox controller, old radio, and he has Zapper, Rubik's Cube, old Medal of Honor, VHS tapes. What is this? Halo 3 poster? A My Little Pony thing going on in the background? Sorry. Yeah, so yeah, as usual, the link to the original will be down below. I just wanted to watch us react to it because Machinima, VTubers, so yeah, it is a good lesson, and I feel like, if anything, I hope more people will notice this and just, you know, just stop and give it a little thought, you know? That's all I can really hope for. Anyways, that's it from me. Enough yapping. I've already turned this 20-minute video into a 40-minute video, and I apologize. I've turned into a yapper somehow, and I've blamed myself for reacting to stuff and let my ADHD just run rampant. Anyways, yes, bye for now.